Hi, this is Maya from the Worldwide Good News, and I have the wonderful Andrew Hewitt with me. He is the founder of GameChangers500. It's a purpose-driven new way of looking at businesses in the 21st century, kind of the 21st century, or is 21st century Fortune 500. So tell us a little bit more about this whole idea.
Well, you said it well in saying it's the 21st century version of the Fortune 500. It's when we look at the Fortune 500 list as an example, here we are ranking the world's top revenue producing companies. And often what happens, we aspire to that version of success. We put that on a pedestal and say, we have a successful company when it's on the Fortune 500, or we have a dream career when it's in the Fortune 500. And I think that's backwards. And that definition of success being about money and status is something that is ready to be changed. And we're seeing that right now at this time in the world. And so the Game Changers 500 represents a new list, a new standard, where we're looking at organizations that are reinventing the world and redefining the rules of business around fun, fulfillment, and fairness to all life, where a dream career is one that you're working at a purpose-driven company, a company doing something that's meaningful, that you deem meaningful, and that's treating people on the planet fairly in the process. So that's the new standard that I'm hoping is cemented into society in this next century.
And it's wonderful because you've got some of my favorite companies there. I mean, Virgin, we can say so many things, but I mean, Richard Branson, his whole idea is the Gaia capitalism, the capitalism of the holistic world of everything we do, and every part of the world is part of this whole holistic view. And then Apple and Google and Cafe Gratitude, all these other amazing companies that are really focused on purpose, and purpose path, the why, like Simon Sinek talks about, like the why are we doing something before what we're doing and how we're doing it. So how did you start? How did you actually come up with this brilliant idea?
How I came up with this idea was actually going to a friend's wedding who was a really active student leader when we were in university. And at this wedding, it was like a reunion of a bunch of student leaders. And, this group of us were from several different schools, but we were all very involved in student leadership activities, business plan competitions, these types of things. And what was interesting was out of that group, at least 80% were recruited to work at the Fortune 500 type companies, a lot of big accounting firms, finance firms, and so forth. And so here we are now, 5-6 years after graduating, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of really unhappy people. And because I was in the space of coaching college students, I got a lot of these friends coming up to me and really just out of despair saying, Andrew, something has to change. I'm really unhappy. I thought this career was going to be great. I'm making good money, but I'm really not happy. And it just bothered me so much to see these amazingly talented people, arguably the brightest students from these respective schools, end up in what now I call the old game, very profit-focused companies. And not that the companies are necessarily bad, but that corporate structure prevents them from necessarily having like a soul and be doing something meaningful, rather than they're forced by their legal structure to put profit first, profit at all costs. And so that was one of the initial motivators for me in realizing that we needed to create a new aspiration value, something that was a better definition of what a dream career was. And really, when I looked for that, I didn't find it. I didn't find a database of the top purpose-driven companies. And so that was really an initial spark for me to start creating that database.
Oh, that's great. Because, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is anything purpose-driven. And I know a lot of coaches who coach it. A huge amount of purpose-driven coaches around there, to name a few. Patrick Coombs was here, Aaron Ross was here, and there's a lot more. And there are companies who are out there who say that they're purposeful, and there are companies who are out there who are the Democratic company, the B Corporation. I mean, there is a structure for it, but there isn't a list. If I wanted to go and apply in an awesome company, I mean, I can go and apply in companies that won prizes, but I think a bigger, robust list to give people the options is a great idea. So people can really find that company that is purposeful for them, because not everybody's going to start their own company. Some people are geared to do that and some people are not. There's still going to be companies and leaders that people want to follow. You're giving people a place to kind of come and find something for themselves.
Yeah, and also for companies and entrepreneurs to learn these new standards. And so we've got 9 best practice badges that we award companies if they're doing well in a certain area. And so part of it, being an entrepreneur myself, I was reading books like Sacred Commerce, the founders of Cafe Gratitude, a great book that really challenges the traditional business model. Some books like on Richard Branson's written some amazing books. Business Strip Bear, his latest one, really shows how he has a different philosophy on business. And so you can kind of piecemeal together these different philosophies. But what I thought would be great is if you can just, in a simple way, showcase the best practices. And so if I'm running Zappos and I'm a leader in creating happy employees and happy customers, but I'm not maybe doing great in another area, well, I can go and learn from the companies that are doing great in those other areas, perhaps environmental best practices and so forth. So it's partially for individuals that are looking for careers and looking to be inspired by these types of organizations, but then also for organizations to learn the best practices, because I feel like there is a new consciousness, there is a new worldview emerging, and that's what is at the foundation of these companies. And so, you look at traditional charities, they're purpose-driven organizations. Yet when you look inside some of those charities, there's something lacking often, and they're often run like more traditional businesses. And when the people working there aren't necessarily that happy, the work conditions aren't great. And although they're purpose-driven, there's several things that are still not in place to have this new worldview, this new consciousness that seems to be emerging right now. And so we're different from just looking at charities, and we're different than just looking at green companies, because it's the same thing with people that put the green stamp on their organization. Often it's just greenwashing, and at the heart of it, there's I call an old game mentality. And then there's these other companies that are really just operating from a new game mentality, from this new worldview that says, hey, let's treat people and the planet with respect while doing something meaningful and while improving the state of the world for everybody. And so that's really what a game changer is to me, and how we can all learn from each other if we share that worldview and that consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. And what I'm seeing in a lot of companies sitting in San Francisco is that there's still a lot of the old model, because it's based on fear of the new, and the new ones are completely new. There's a new way of looking at things. As what you just said, the sharing, the collaboration is key, because without that, we can't move forward. I think one of the older models of competition is to keep your information to yourself. And I'm part of a couple of incubators here. Like one of them is the Hub, which is a social incubator. And I see the idea of sharing space, sharing ideas. And Aaron Ross talks about unique genius, because we all have especially people who are very aware, we have similar ideas, but what we're going to do with it is our own thing. So there's no competition, there's collaboration to go to a higher place, and we can together, like a Scrum methodology, the Scrum metaphors, we push everybody together forward, and we push the whole world together with us forward. So that's what I'm seeing in San Francisco and the Bay Area with this new model, and I completely see it in the companies that are on your website.
Mind Valley, that's a great example, right?
Yeah, it's a wonderful example.
They're going to be open sourcing their publishing platform. And so I think this is so amazing. Like, here you have a company that's reinventing the publishing industry, doing amazing other things that's game changing and the coolest work environment ever, and so forth. But taking like their intellectual property in a way, their secret sauce, their way of publishing products, and realizing that if they just try to do it themselves, they're not going to reach their goal of impacting millions of people. And so because they put their impact measurement first, they're like, oh, let's open source this so more people can use this platform. Such a great example of what you're sharing about collaboration and how that really is one of the core standards of this new movement.
So it doesn't come from a place of scarcity. It comes from a place of abundance, which is also what I'm seeing a lot of these companies do. And some of them are still small, and they're still doing the startup thing, still doing the bootstrap thing, but they're working hard in something that they believe that enlivens them and gives them a sense of purpose and also a direction that they can actually achieve what they want. And I'm seeing it again and again in different companies that I'm with and different people that I work with, the difference between we want to do something bigger for the world versus I need to get a job.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not necessarily an ego thing either. It's just this genuine knowing that, that choice of working for a paycheck or a purpose, it just makes a lot more sense when you work for a purpose. You have a higher quality of life. You're more in tune with using your strengths and contributing them to something you believe in. And it's, people can get caught in ambition of, other their ego needs to have a certain status. But what's different with this group of organizations and people playing this game is that it's genuinely from a place of meaning. I love Wayne Dyer's new film, The Shift from Ambition to Meaning. I think it just portrays that perfectly, of how we have this choice right now of choosing to play a new game and choosing to put purpose first and to put meaning first. And I think that's an amazing opportunity that our generation has, that years ago, these types of organizations that didn't exist. And so I really feel that this is the greatest opportunity that the generations had to really reach a high level of fulfillment and make an amazing contribution at the same time. Yeah,
I completely agree. And also in the word of generation, the interesting thing is that it's a cross-generational thing. I see people in their 50s saying, I'm done, and moving on. I see younger people. So it's like a generation, it's the maybe oldest X's and the youngest millennials are taking, so it's a generation X, Y, and millennials together taking a stand. And each of them bringing in their own experience, some with just a new view of life. But I think it doesn't even matter how old you are in this new paradigm. It's a really great time to reinvent yourself, and I see it with the different age groups that are coming forward. For the future, how are you going to grow this? What's your amazing 2012 looking like?
Well, one big thing we're doing in 2012 is we're going to start doing video reviews of these organizations. So, because video is the new thing, right? Like, video's hot. It's how people want to consume media. And so we're going to be doing short video reviews of these organizations, and looking forward to doing that. So one of our scaling strategies is finding people who want to do these reviews, good personalities and are enthusiastic about what we're doing, and want to be part of the movement and helping us review more companies. And so another thing that's happening is we've created what we call our Game Changer DNA test that organizations can take and rate themselves based on our 9 best practice badges, which looks at the objectives. Why are they really in business? Are they operating from a purpose motive? Are they measuring their impact? These types of things. And then how they treat people and how they treat the planet. Those are our 3 main categories. We break each one of those into 3 separate badges that they can win or be awarded. And so this DNA test, up until now, we've been doing it ourselves, where we interview a company, we fill it out with them. And so I'm excited in the new year that will be online, it will be automated, so that people can go to the website and fill in the test right there online. So that's going to help us rate a lot more companies a lot faster. And so those are really the 2 major things happening in early 2012 to ramp up how many organizations we're rating, so we can really arrive at a very robust GameChangers500 list by the end of the year.
We talked a little bit before about you can make money in something you love and it's your purpose and it's okay, and to kind of break the paradigm between money is something wrong. No, money makes the world go round, but how can we use it for positive change?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, and you're finding these amazing companies that who are actually doing that.
Exactly, and that's it. That is a tremendous difference. Is it's not for profit or not for profit, and
Yeah.
we've been given that legal model for decades. And so one of the reasons that is holding back a lot of these purpose-driven initiatives is because we're given this choice: are you for profit or are you not for profit? And if you're for profit, you should choose to become a public corporation, or you bring in investment. That model, what it does is you can be quick to lose the soul of the company, and you can be legally mandated to put profit first. And so now we see standards like the B Corporation coming out and challenging and saying, what if we had a legal model that said, for benefit, for good, purpose first. And so we're starting to see that. And so it's, yes, you can make money and you can be a for-profit organization and not limited by some of the restrictions of being a not-for-profit, but you can do it in a way that doesn't limit you just to put profit first. And so if you want to reinvest in your community, if you want to invest in making a cool work environment, you don't have to be getting the approval so much of your shareholders who might not approve of those business decisions. And so it's, and organizations like Zappos are really proving that, in that they are a traditional for-profit structure, but they built such a strong culture that it's so obvious that they should continue investing in it because it's working. They're a billion-dollar company now, and here's a company who offers 80% of their customers, I heard, get overnight free shipping. And so does that make business sense to give 80% of your customers overnight free shipping when they're not expecting it? Well, obviously it does, because they've got a lot of return customers, a lot of people are happy, and their motivation for doing that wasn't necessarily to make more money. It was because their purpose is spreading happiness, and they knew that would put a smile on their customer faces. And so we're getting all these case studies now of how you can make money and make a difference. And in fact, when you're making a difference, like Tom's Shoes, here's a company that gives away a pair of shoes for every pair of shoes you buy. They're a for-profit company. So how does it make sense that they give away a pair of shoes for every pair you buy, right? And that's the difference with these game changer companies, is that they're purpose first, and by being purpose first, they're doing better. And so it's causing a lot of people to say, hey, I don't have to choose between not-for-profit and struggling to make money and raising, donations, or for-profit and just losing my soul and just being all about making money. You can actually be a hybrid. It's often called a hybrid structure, where you're putting your purpose first, you're doing good financially in the process, and making an impact all at the same time. So I think that's amazing, and it's something that we all get to strive for and get the opportunity to learn from these pioneers and game changers that are doing this.
Oh, that's great. This is such great news, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. And I wanted to thank you, Andrew, for your time today.
My pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing. We're all a part of this, collaborating, as a team. So thank you for spreading the message.
No, thank you. And this was Maya from the Worldwide Good News.